Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and welcome to part 5 of Modular Mondays, where we'll be continuing the build of our fast food corner. Now before we get started on part 5, I just wanted to do a few pieces of admin. The first is to pass on some real thanks to my viewers and subscribers who've been giving me massive encouragement and wonderful positive comments about the Modular so far. There was a time before I started showing you all this that I was a bit nervous and worried it wouldn't go down that well, but clearly that was unfounded because I've had some really fantastic support, as I say. So thank you very much for that. Secondly, if you are a new subscriber or viewer, I do suggest before watching this part 5 you watch the previous 4 parts because there's a lot to see there. I don't think you'll get the full benefit if you don't. There's part 1 on the fast food corner itself, part 2 on the ground floor of the pawnbroker shop, part 3 is the pharmacy, and part 4 is the second floor of the pawnbroker shop with this lovely sign. So we'll meet you back here after you've seen those 4 parts. Right, and then for the rest of us, there are a few things I wanted to show you which are actually amendments suggested by you, my wonderful viewers and subscribers, and the first of which is in the pharmacy window. One long-term subscriber, Robin Hull, suggested I add this flask into the window, a sort of decoration to suggest further that it's a pharmacy, and I think that looks really good. I think it's called an Ehrenmeyer flask or something in America, or a conical flask in the UK, and that just means we've got that extra bit of detail, and that's right at the level of the glass cylinder, so I think that looks really good. So thanks for that. Another small one was just to add a 1x8 tile across the internal security blind just to remove those studs. I think I'll keep that. And a third one was on the inside of the pawnbrokers, just to change the clock on the wall from the sort of normal white clock to this brown, more antique style clock face, which is a very good suggestion, so I've done that as well. So just 3 relatively small tweaks which improve the detail and the character of the Modular. So now all that remains is for me to open bag 5, which as you can see is absolutely massive and has lots of parts in it, to do what is the upstairs for the entire rest of the building, which will ultimately be 2 more floors, which is accessed by this door. And I've had a lot of guesses as to what that shop is going to be. They were all wrong, unfortunately. And the answer is an outdoor adventure shop where we'll be selling all sorts of camping and climbing gear and stuff like that. So I'd better start, as usual, with the floor. Right, so that's the floor done. And it's just a collection of dark bluish grey plates, as you might imagine. But we have got some wedge plates on this corner to give a pleasing diagonal edge. And we've also got a trapdoor piece here to give a hole for the stairwell. And then if we attach this to the floor below, we'll see that it fits very snugly and connects very easily. And it's guided very well into position by these raised menu signs, also the corner with the burger on and so on. So it's quite easy to put on because some Modular's official ones are quite tricky to stack sometimes. Anyway, we've got the stairwell coming up, meeting the top of the stairs very snugly indeed. So you can see there, got the colour seamless on this side and another 3 plate height step. So it's absolutely consistent. Also that wedge edge goes right up against the diagonal edge of the support for the burger sign. So it's very snug indeed. And it was important for me that all this lifted off in one piece rather than having the second floor of the pawnbroker being separate to the rest of this, because they're going to share a wall and there's going to be features inside and so on. So even though they'll look like two very distinct buildings from the outside, they will actually lift off as one. And when I say two buildings, that was because I wanted this pawnbroker building to be distinct with its sort of sand blue colouring and so on, and be very old looking, and then the rest to all be one large building that has been subdivided into several businesses on the ground floor, but above the ground floor has a consistent architecture across the entire rest of the build. So that was the oldest building, and then this one was built up against it at a later date, and then at a later date still was split up to make the highest rent possible, which makes a lot of sense in what is being represented as a sort of lower rent area. And speaking of lower rent, that's why I thought I would have this as being a outdoor adventure shop, because they need a lot of space to show off all their big and bulky kit. So I thought it was a lot more sensible to put something that use a lot of space and therefore require a lower rental value than something that was particularly high end that would be in a nicer, more central part of the city. Good. So as normal, I'll do a wall at a time and show you the interior as I go. And I think I'll probably start here and go all the way around. But I think before I do that, I should probably finish off the floor below with the 3D sign here and some detail up the side of the stairs. Right, so let's quickly finish the downstairs then. I know a lot of you were keen to see what this sign was going to become in order to identify the shop, but I kept you waiting very cruelly after part 3 with the pharmacy by doing the upstairs of the pawnbroker as part 4. But we're here now, and what I'd done last time was this layer of dark green bricks on the bottom and then a layer of medium blue bricks on the top, and that was just represent the outdoors. And I've already added a compass on the stud. It was a modified brick, so that's just representing the sort of orienteering and sort of travel side of outdoor pursuits. But then on this side, I thought I'd add a wedge plate in dark bluish grey with a corner tile in white to represent a mountain, which can go here. And then just to finish off that sign, I'm going to add a grappling hook sort of thing. What's it called? Like climbing axe, I suppose, rather than a grappling hook, isn't it? And that would go there on the sign as well. So not as 3D as the burger or the pharmacy cross, but a very pretty sign nonetheless. And then just to finish the stairwell, I wanted to do some banisters. So what I've done is got some snowshoe pieces, got them mounted on these newish round modified tiles, and then a row of them can just be a handrail all the way up the stairs. So you see I've got 4 of those in there, and that just helps people climb that steep set of stairs. And then hopefully I put the upper floor on. Yeah, it doesn't get in the way at all, does it? Brilliant. So that's the downstairs finished. And our run of signs finished for now. Right, let's get on with the second floor. So early on in the design phase for this modular, I picked the colour for what will be this entire floor and the floor above. And I decided on this medium dark flesh colour, which is also called medium nougat or nougat by Lego. And it's a lovely warm colour that's a sort of very natural colour as well that you'd expect to see a building made out of, maybe sandstone or something like that. And I checked that all the parts were in existence that I needed to build this floor. But what I didn't do, which is probably the biggest lesson I've learnt from doing this modular, is to check not only that these parts exist, but they are readily available, because it's been an absolute nightmare getting the parts for this part of the build. 2x2 jumpers are pretty rare. These modified bricks only came in 2 sets. there isn't a 1x4 brick, so I've had to use loads of 1x2 bricks. This 1x4 modified plate is only actually available from one set only, the Go Brick Me set 41597. The 1x2 jumpers, which I'm using an absolute load of, only came in 2 sets. That set again, and another brick head for Chewbacca. They don't do 2x2 inverted slope pieces, so I've had to use a load of 1x2 ones, which are also only in 2 sets ever. So as you can see, getting these pieces is an absolute nightmare because so few people had bought multiples of those very few sets. So I've had to go all around Europe in order to be able to get enough to do it, which I wouldn't recommend or do again myself. Anyway, we've got them now. So the setup I'm going for on this is again using the inverted bricks to gain a bit of an extension from the floor below. We're going to be using the modified bricks to add on a feature on the outside of the building, and then the 1x2 and 2x2 jumper plates are then used in a layer to set back the layer of windows and this sort of detailing, and indeed the wall, back by half a stud, and that just gives it a nice interesting lip both on the inside and on the outside. And then we need more jumper plates along the top, so then we can put on a plate at the top which will bring back that half stud that we've rebaited. So you see there, it's back to normal, so then we can join it to the rest of the build. But I do think that that effort of sourcing all those pieces all around Europe has been worth it just for that half a stud rebate. So hopefully you agree. Tell me what you think. And then while we're in this corner, I thought I'd just use the other side of these modified bricks from last time to show off their range of sleeping bags. So I got these 3. These are all on 2x4 tiles with stickers. They're all stickers from the 41339 set, Mia's camper van. And if I just have a display of those sort of diagonally up a window, sort of draws the eye in and is very colourful indeed. So I like that a lot. Right, so I need to continue this with a curved brick around this corner to make way for the big burger sign that is about here, and then continue this pattern all the way along this line as well, using my very valuable and hard to find bricks. Okay, so that's that entire wall done in the same style with these modified bricks ready to accommodate something on the outside. These columns out of 1x1 white bricks and 1x1 plates in this sort of gunmetal-y dark grey silver colour. So that's pretty standard as for this side. But what I've got here is kind of an inverted corner. Now, this is using a similar sort of building technique that's used on the Grand Emporium 10211 on the corner of that, except it is a sort of curve going around the outside, and this is a curve that sort of goes inward. So this needs a third side, and for that I've built this combination of bricks and plates and modified plates just so it's going to accommodate what I've got planned for the outside of the building. So there'll be one column of windows missing, and I'm using that same column to support a couple of pairs of binoculars in different colours to represent a sort of rack of stock for sale on the inside of the building. So that'll go on that third side like that, and I can pin that in place with first of all a wedge plate like that, and then this lovely 4x4 curved tile piece. So that's kind of an inward bay, almost the opposite of what's going on here, and that's where the giant burger is, which is the reason why I came up with this idea. But I also think it looks like quite a good architectural feature, which again breaks up the line. A lot of people do buildings that are very square on every single floor. Well, we've got a little bay window here, then a straight bit, big bay, straight bit, inward curve, and then a long straight bit. So I think that's a lot more interesting. Yeah, I like it. So I won't tell you what's going to go on this modified plate and this modified brick yet. We'll do that at the end because that's going to be some more 3D surprises. But otherwise, you can see the inside is starting to shape up. So there are those binoculars just on the wall there. And they're going to be next to a cash till type area. So he's got his computer with keyboard. It's just a slightly different keyboard with a sticker from a Batman set, I believe. So I'll just pop that. Let's pop that in as far as it will go into the corner there to give the shopkeeper a bit of space. There are tiny gaps in between these windows, but it's the same on traditional Lego builds, so I'm not too worried about that. So now I think I'll get on with some of the interior while we've got good access before I start doing the final two walls. But I'm loving this colour with the brown windows and the white and silver bits. It's really interesting. Good. So the first thing I want to add to the interior is the shopkeeper behind the desk there. And I thought I'd use the new Johnny Thunder type Explorer, Jungle Explorer from the recent series minifigure set, but I've already used him in my exotic pet shop. So I had another think, and then the next best one is clearly the Series 2 Explorer. With his fantastic monocle, huge moustache, pith hat and water bottle, he's a very experienced hand at the old exploring and can give a lot of useful advice to customers. So I think he's a good addition in there. I've also added a stove with pan, which came from the recent People Pack Outdoor Adventures 60202. And that was really the set, along with set 60153, Fun at the Beach, that inspired this shop, because they've both got a lot of really good stuff, like canoes and paddles and so on, that I wanted to be able to use in my city, but I just don't have the space for, because I'm building the centre of a city, Brick Nottingham, and it's not going to have loads of lovely long rivers to paddle down and camping grounds and so on. So I thought, how better to use all those wonderful pieces than have a store selling them? So with that in mind, I thought I could have, amongst other things, the canoe for sale. And in order to fit that in any meaningful way, get that on, there we go, it pretty much has to be wall mounted. Now that's breaching the normal rules probably for Lego built modular, because it's going above this line here. But I don't mind, because this isn't an official modular, it's a modular for me, so I'm doing it for my own rules. And I don't mind this, because on the floor above I'm going to have a mezzanine level, and this is going to cross between those two levels. So essentially there's a hole on the floor above for that to go through and link the two floors together. But I think as a wall-mounted piece, it looks rather fantastic. Now next to that, I thought I'd need some paddles. So I built a little rack here, just with some 1x1 round bricks and loads of modified plates. And that can have a two-ended kayak type paddle, a one-ended paddle in red, and then two of the older style paddles, which are actually an old brown. That's just to finish off the rack. And I can put that sort of, there we go. Oh, get my finger out, to the side of the canoe or kayak on the wall. And that looks rather busy. Then I thought I'd have a mannequin. Now this is from the recent Arctic line, it's in a few sets, but I just love the way he's got loads of kit on his lower half, on his torso as well, with this rope and all the rest of it. I've given him two climbing axes to show what he might be up to, and the climbing hat. Now this is his face, it's supposed to represent obviously a balaclava and a sort of ski mask, but I thought, it doesn't look particularly like he's alive because he doesn't have yellow skin, and it could just be an interesting mannequin. So I thought he would be just here not as a real life person, but showing off some of the equipment for sale. So there we go. So that's a very busy corner. Don't worry, I am going to fill the rest just as much. Then we've got this area down here at the end. And there I thought I'd do a clothes rack. So here I've got a turntable piece with an aerial on it and one of these modified plates, I suppose. And onto that, I've got a few torsos. This one is from that Outdoor Adventures set, 60202. And I can just clip that onto there. This is an old Arctic one, so it's sort of a fur-lined jacket with the Arctic logo on it. So I'll put that on the rack. And another one I've got, which was from, I can't remember, it's a few sets. It's in the recent ski sets. Actually, yeah, it might have come with that snow sports shop. But it's sort of an X Games type hoodie. So that can go on as well. And they're all in nice bright colours as well. And then on the top, I've got some clear 1x1 bricks to support a sort of Parker hat hood. And then I thought all that could go at the end there. Let's see if I can get that on. Yep, without it sliding down too much. Something like that. And then that can turn, showing all of the clothing for sale. So it's a bit wobbly, but it is sturdy enough. That's just because it's on that turntable piece. And you can see all of that through the window as well. Very good. So that's pretty much 2 walls full. Then here's a very large space. And what I decided to do there was use probably the biggest feature from the People Pack set, 60202, which is the tent itself. Yes, I thought I'd have a fully pitched tent inside the building. I won't push that down yet because I've got to do it a bit more firmly than I'm to be able to do on camera. But you see there is going to actually fill up a large portion of the ground floor of this shop. And it's very true to life, if you ask me, because you often see when you go into these large outdoor shop that they've got things like tents and canoes out for you to see and try and measure up. And I thought that would be a really good feature. So you can see this store is going to be as packed and stacked as all the other ones. Brilliant. Now when it comes to actually putting this tent in, I've put it as close to the wall as I can so as not to waste a whole row of studs, which I want to have on the interior of my shop, because space is at an absolute premium in a modular like this. So instead of using the modified plates with the ball joint on, which are usually used to hold the canvas in place like they are on the front, I've actually used 2 with the horizontal clip on the back because they stand a little less proud. And that will enable me to use these panel pieces instead of regular bricks for part of the wall and have those panels line up with those modified plates. So I can actually have the wall continue right up to the edge of that tent. And just that little saving is really important when it comes to the building as a whole. So very happy with that. I'll continue with the wall. Now the rear of this floor is done in white bricks with a nice tan stripe on it as well. And that's just because, as we said earlier, the medium nougat or nougat bricks are very hard to come by. So I thought it was no problem having a different colour on the back. Many of the official Lego sets do that, don't they? So there's the white wall. There's an air conditioning unit on it as well, and the continuation of the drain pipe, which we have on the lower section going to the grate at the bottom. So that continues there. Now the next thing I was considering for this large blank piece of wall here was an advert. And I have a suitable piece which I got on a brick haul, which was these two chaps wearing football kit or soccer kit. This piece comes from the set 3414 Precision Shooting, which, as I say, is a football or soccer set. And this piece represented the defensive wall of players standing in the way of a free kick. And you had to sort of flick a ball kind of over the top of these and into the goal. And that was the point of it. And I thought that that piece could go there. Now, I really wasn't sure about it, but now I hold it in position, I do think that looks quite good, actually. I mean, obviously, modulars normally don't have stickers, but this follows my rules, not Lego's rules, so I quite like the look of that. Do tell me what you think, but I'm leaning towards putting that in, because you'll be able to see that advert over the railway line. And although it doesn't have any text saying, the brand it's advertising, you never know, it might be that in Lego worlds that this is a very familiar colour scheme or brand for a brand of sports where we don't know. Anyway, I think I'll put that in. Then in the inside, we've got some modified bricks we had already, which I'm going to use next. Then some here with the back of that air conditioning unit, but that will all be covered up by something that is going to be part of next week's video. And then we've got this interesting rack here. Now I've had to take this rack apart just to show you what I've done, but it's a 1x2 modified plate with the vertical stick and a 1x2 modified brick with the horizontal clip. And essentially by putting them together like this, you create a kind of firm peg. And I've got those, which are quite hard to separate without a brick separator. So, see what I mean? Oh, there we go. So I can have a wall of things like life jackets. And by putting it in the middle of this sandwich of these two pieces, it won't fall off when the modular gets moved. Because the last thing I'd want to do when taking out, say, a whole layer is lose all of the equipment that I've so carefully hung up. So I'm going to have a couple of life jackets on one row. So I've got a different type here and a different colour. So this is the more modern orange life jacket there. Then I can put on a few more bricks and then do another layer with some backpacks. And I've got the old style of backpack in brown and green. I've got a really old style backpack from the Adventurers sets in this sort of old grey. That's a good one. And I've got these really new ones with the bedroll on as well. So I've got one in dark green, in grey, and in brown as well. So I've got loads to choose from there. So I can start mounting all of those using this sort of modified clip and brick combo. So they're all not just hanging from the wall for display, but are actually attached to the wall. So I'm going to add a few more of those and then put that section of the wall back and give you a view of it completed. Right, so there is my wall of rucksacks and backpacks and my life jackets, and there's still room to come up the stairs, which is why I didn't put two more there and sort of turn this corner here. So I rather like that as well because it's another colourful setup. And as you probably saw, I just added the advert as well. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to keep it. And the thing is as well, I think I've got another one which does need repositioning using my patented hot tea technique for the floor above. So I could make it a 2-floor advert as well, which might look even better. I'm not sure. We'll see about that next week. But for now, I think I just need to do a little bit more trimming up at the top, and we'll be ready for the pièce de résistance on the front. Okay, so I've finished off the back wall. We've got this brown stripe, white stripe, and then medium nougat stripe in the tiles with the incredibly rare and hard to find modified plate there for holding the floor above in place. So you can see that continues along the outside. This side of the modular will be visible over the railway lines, and this side will ultimately be covered up, so it doesn't matter so much, but I have tried to make it as neat as I possibly can. As I said, I'm going to complete what's on this wall next time because it actually spans both floors, and what I'm going to put on this wall is a shelf with some more stock. So I've got a normal 4x8 plate with some 1x4 panel pieces on just to act as shelves, and then in no particular order I've got a tile with camp written on it, which could be a sort of guidebook or something like that. That's from the Friends set Adventure Camp Treehouse 41122. I've got an adventurer's map with what looks like the Taj Mahal and a X marks the spot on it. Another adventurer's one, this time showing you the way to the Yeti hideout in the mountains. Then I've got another map which is more of a sort of ordnance survey type style, which is from the series 16 Hiker, Greeble Trail, very good. Then I've got a few more pieces. This is just a sort of almost like a bedroll type piece, which I think is from Star Wars, but I just had it from a mixed lot I bought once, so I thought that was quite appropriate. And then I've got a couple more compasses. So I've got one in dark blue, which I can put next. And then I've got this one, which is maybe not a compass, maybe it's actually a little screen for a radar screen, but it kind of looks like a compass, so I thought I'd use that as that on that shelf there as well. And then I've actually got one more compass, which is this clear 1x2 one, which I think I'll just put on the table with the Explorer for him to sell. And this I will mount to the wall using those modified bricks that we had from the other side, being the holding the stuff up in the pawnbroker shop. So there we go, there's another shelf full of good stuff. Very good. Right, so this wall aside, we've got a very, very busy, jam-packed, full shop. And finally on the outside, I've added some flower boxes onto each of the modified bricks that was underneath the windows, and one on the front. And that just adds a lot more colour as well with the bright green and this pink. And I think looks quite fancy, really, for this part of town anyway. So I like that. So the only thing that remains is to probably show you the inside once more. The sleeping bags on the wall, the carousel that turns with the different torsos, jackets for sale, Series 2 Explorer who runs the shop with all his lovely stock, with the canoe, with the tent, all the paddles, binoculars. Then we've got the wall of backpacks and life preservers. The wall for you to have a guess what it is. And then a set of shelves with some maps on as well. Not forgetting, on the outside, air conditioning unit, advertisement, and continued drain pipe. Right, so let's bring back the ground floor. We can pop this on. So it's very easy to locate because of the corner there and some other bits that sort of hold it all in place. And there we have it. So now you can see that this building is all one, and it was just carved up on the ground floor to make most of the rents. You can see that 3D sign's looking pretty good. I think I must have just knocked that a little bit. There we go. Yeah, looking really good. And that only leaves us with these two modified bits, which we're going to use to extend the sign for the fast food shop. Yes. So the owners of the fast food shop decided to not only add a large 3D burger as their sign on the outside of the building, but they also decided to incorporate a very large set of French fries in some familiar red packaging. Take that off temporarily. And a milkshake made out of an inverted cone with a glass or trans-coloured lid made of a dish piece. On there. So then we've got the holy trinity of fast food: burger, fries and shake. Wow, I do like that. You know, I absolutely love a 3D sign, and well, we've got a good 3D sign here and here, and with the menus down here, and even with the pawnbroker symbol over there. But wow, a huge burger with melted cheese, some French fries, and a lovely milkshake. Wow, I really love that. I love the way it utilises the space of the concave corner, which we have lost to a degree because we can't really see it behind these things, or people see out of the windows very well. But do remember, the floor above will be styled in the same style as this, so we'll still be able to see it and how it's been used on what would be then the floor below. So I really like that. Well, I hope you like that as much as me. That is the pièce de résistance I promised you, and I think it lives up to expectations. But do tell me what you think. Well, what an interesting build. I do hope you think that's improved my modular yet further. I thought it was worthwhile to do something with you that I hadn't done in the previous one, which shows you that it does still lift off easily and fits together very easily as well. So we've still got the integrity of the modular building there. But as well as that lovely 3D sign, we've got an absolutely packed and stacked outdoor adventure store, including tent, canoe, advertising on the back, and even a lovely conventional 3D sign near its door. So very, very happy with that. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. And on Friday, as usual, we'll be doing a city update. I haven't decided what yet. And then next Monday, we'll probably finish off this series of Modular Mondays by doing the next floor above here and all the roofing. So see you then!